The word otaku is borrowed directly from Japanese, and in English use tends to refer to a person who has hobby-related interests that might be regarded as obsessive, particularly in the fields of gaming, anime and manga. It is similar in some fashion to earlier senses of geek and nerd. Today's case is about an otaku, whose story sent shockwaves throughout Vancouver. Hello, welcome to Mike Files, a channel where we look into mysteries, incidents, and crimes. Without further ado, let's dive into today's story. Vancouver is a major city in Western Canada, located in the Lower Mainland region of British Columbia. Vancouver has the highest population density in Canada, with over 5,400 people per square kilometer. This story took place in a neighborhood called Marpole, located on the southern edge of the city of Vancouver. Marpole is one of Vancouver's oldest communities. The area has a mix of residential housing, including low-rise apartments, and several major commercial streets. Here lived a couple named Dianna Ma Jones, 65, and Richard Jones, 68. Ma Jones was a highly respected and award-winning occupational therapist. She was well known across the region, province and nationally in the field of occupational therapy for her contribution to the continuing education of rehabilitation professionals. In 2015, Ma Jones was named the Canadian Association of Occupational Therapists BC Chapter's Outstanding Occupational Therapist of the Year. Outside of work, Ma Jones was an active member of the Razzmatazz Tap dance group. She was a member of this dance group for almost 25 years. The lovely couple had been living in the peaceful neighborhood of Marpole before September 27, 2017. On this day, Ma Jones failed to show up for work. It was very unlike the occupational therapist to just not turn up without informing her coworkers. The coworker started calling the house in Marpole, but the calls were not answered. A coworker named Anthony Purcell decided he would go over and check on them to see if everything was all right.
Vancouver Police Emergencies.
The back door is open. I think there's blood everywhere. I think I need someone to come over. I'm going to stay at the house, but I don't think I should go in. I'm going to assume you need police and ambulance, man. Whew. Front door is locked, back door is open. There's a trail of blood coming, footsteps coming down the steps. And for what it's worth, man, there's a knife in the front pathway. It's in a plastic cover, right?
Okay.
But what kind of made me go around back is there is also a hatchet on the front yard with it looks like drops of blood.
We start with breaking news in Vancouver, where homicide detectives are investigating what appears to be two suspicious deaths.
It was a very horrific scene for the police officers that first arrived on scene. Pools of dried blood were everywhere in the house, with drag marks on the floor and walls with spatter of blood. The officers followed the drag marks into the bathroom and found the bodies of Dianna Ma Jones and her husband Richard Jones. Both had been brutally murdered. They were left inside the shower with the water running. According to the autopsy results, Ma Jones's throat was slit and her husband was hacked and slashed more than 100 times with injuries over his body. The killer continued stabbing even after Jones was dead. Valuables in the house were apparently untouched, and it seemed that robbery or break-and-enter wasn't the motive. The motive could be some sort of grudge or long-term disputes where emotions have gotten to this extreme violence. After committed the brutal murders, the killer even helped himself to a peach and milk in the fridge, grabbed $30, some banana and the car key. An unknown male DNA was retrieved from the crime scene. The investigators ran the sample of the unknown DNA in the National Police database, but there was no match to any crime scene or any other match to any person on the DNA databank. A newspaper delivery person recalled that he had spotted the knife and hatchet when he was delivering newspapers in the neighborhood around 4:30 a.m., but he didn't think anything of it. Within 12 hours, police found the couple's vehicle at about 7 blocks away from their residence. Different surveillance cameras at that area captured the suspect dumping the vehicle and moving through for about 2 square block areas. Investigators then turned their focus to bloody hatchet left on the lawn. With the barcode still intact, investigators were able to identify the very store where the hatchet was purchased from. It was purchased from a Canadian Tire store. Through store CCTV footage, police confirmed that the purchase was made by the same man who dumped the vehicle. The suspect captured on CCTV footage, purchasing what's later described in evidence as a kill kit, a hatchet, baseball hat, and gardening gloves. The cash sales, just 2 weeks before the slayings, but who was this man? After 1 month of canvassing businesses and residences, police finally located the suspect. However, to prove he's the killer, police must get a sample of their suspect's DNA, but how? Police kept the suspect under surveillance and observed that the suspect didn't come out of his house very often. Of the 12 days of surveillance that the police had on him, the suspect only came out of his residence 3 times. Police were waiting for the suspect to discard coffee cups or eating utensils. An undercover sting was launched. One evening when the suspect was leaving the grocery store, a female police officer in plainclothes pretended to have difficulty with opening up a water bottle and a pill container. The suspect was glad to help with the request. From that, police were able to obtain the suspect's DNA. About 6 weeks after the killings, the suspect was arrested at his home, less than a kilometer away from the victim's house. The suspect was identified as Rambo Wei Nam Kam. It is his birth name. His father, an engineer from Hong Kong, was a big fan of Sylvester Stallone, leading to naming his son Rocky Rambo. Wei Nam, meanwhile, means powerful male in Chinese. Kam was born on August 2, 1992. The then 25-year-old man was raised in Hong Kong, but immigrated to Calgary as a teenager. Shortly after graduating from the University of Calgary with an economics degree, Kam moved to Vancouver in the spring of 2017 as he was unable to find a job. He had no family in Vancouver and settled in a rented room in a house. Without a job, Kam adopted a lifestyle focused on playing violent video games and reading comic books. At the time of the killings, he was spending 15 hours a day playing video games and reading comics. Kam was an odd fellow, very fond of video games, especially Skyrim. Skyrim is a fantasy role-playing game, and according to Entertainment Software Rating Board, this game features blood and gore, intense violence, sexual themes and the use of alcohol. Kam was initially charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Eventually, the charges were elevated to first-degree murder in 2018. But still in the dark, as to why, what was the motive? The full interrogation tape released by Vancouver police was almost 9 hours long. We'll look at some of the highlights.
Okay, and your full name, Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam.
Yes.
Yeah, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I don't like that.
Oh. You don't like all of the names or some of the names?
Rocky Rambo. Do you know Rocky Rambo?
Well, I know a Rocky Rambo, yeah.
You look like Rocky Rambo, do you?
Not much, no.
How are you?
Good.
I'm Sergeant Leah Terpsma. It's good to meet you. How are you today? I guess you've had better days. Here they are here. Do you recognize those folks?
I have nothing to say.
Okay. All right. So with regard to these people, are they familiar or neighborly with you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. So if you know those people, it would be nice to hear an explanation for that. If you don't know them, that's fine too. I'd just like to know what your position is on that.
What do you mean, position?
Well, just about these people, like I'm unclear. Like I would like to clear that up. If you know them, then great. I would love to hear it.
I have nothing to say.
Okay. Where you were on September 13th?
How about November?
I can show you how to remember because I know where you were September 13th. You want to know where you were?
I don't want to talk about it.
You were at the Canadian Tire buying these gloves and buying this hatchet and buying this hat, son. I got you on video doing those things. So I don't want you to sit there thinking this is nothing. I don't have to worry about this. You have to worry about this, Rocky. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a matter of being polite or impolite.
Small talk about life and to break bread, these were strategies to gain trust. However, Kam still refused to say anything about the crime.
You know, Rocky, I can sit there and I can feel that you are feeling something. I can see that you're emotional. Why aren't you taking this chance to at least express remorse? Maybe today you're not ready to talk about the whole ugly story, but at least say you're sorry. For what? You're an animal.
Kam pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder, though he admitted to the slayings. During the trial, a clinical psychologist told the court Kam may have been operating in a video game consciousness at the time of the killings. According to the clinical psychologist, Kam remembered that he killed the couple, but he was not able to give an intent. Kam told the clinical psychologist that he was shocked when Ma Jones screamed after he made his way into the couple's Marpole home, a hatchet in one hand and a pocket knife in the other. Kam didn't know what to do because characters in the video game don't scream. At another point, the clinical psychologist said Kam couldn't explain why he stabbed Richard Jones over 100 times. Because in a game, when you hit a person dies. If they don't, you keep hitting the button. Lastly, the clinical psychologist testified that Kam felt no remorse, no anxiety, and Kam couldn't give an explanation why he didn't feel these feelings. On July 28, 2020, almost 3 years after the murders, Kam was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder, and has been given a life sentence with no chance of parole, for 25 years. Kam's family was completely dumbfounded by what their son and brother had done. They do not understand it and do not know how it could possibly have occurred. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share, and consider subscribing to this channel. As always, have a great day.